Let's see how physical attacks work, Vorden said, as he moved forward and swung a long metal pipe he had in his hand. Vorden continued to attack with the metal pipe, and Quinn continued to block, moving the shadow in the areas where Vorden was attacking. That's when he realized something. Every time Quinn would hit his shadow, his MC points would go down by a chunk. Then when Vorden was about to attack one more time, "Wait, stop, Vorden!" Quinn shouted. His shadow had vanished, and he had run out of MC points. The shadow acted as a type of shield. It wasn't solid enough to block attacks, but would be able to slow them down. "Well, I can see why your ability is a level 6 now," Vorden said. "I think it's more to do with how freely you can use the shadow, and my example would be the skills." Quinn was happy with the results of the shadow ability, and hearing Vorden talk about made him feel even more confident. With the spar over, the two of them decided that once Quinn was fully rested and his MT points were back, they would exit out of the training center and go exploring again. After all, if they did nothing, they would soon start to starve, and Vorden didn't want another instance where Quinn got too hungry. Suddenly, 4 people appeared holding hands together on the street. As soon as they saw where they were, they immediately let go. "Is everyone here?" Faye asked as she did a head count. The homeroom teacher Dell was here, although he was still wearing clothing like he was ready to teach. Then there was the doctor, Hayley. She was dressed more appropriately, with high-end beast gear all over. She didn't look like her usual self in her white robe, and looked almost intimidating. Then there was Leo. He was wearing light armor that fitted tightly to the skin, similar to Faye. Both of their abilities focused on speed, so it was important not to wear something too heavy. "All right, our goal is to find the children," Faye said. The rescue team had arrived. On Dell's back was a fairly large rucksack that looked quite heavy. As he walked with the group, his footsteps stomped the ground and his back was arched. "Why do I have to carry this thing?" Dell complained. "Right now you're the weakest of us 4, right?" Faye replied. "So if you want us to protect you, it's best that you carry the portable teleporter." "Fine, I understand that, but why even the need to bring the portable teleporter in the first place? Isn't the teleporter fine on this end?" Dell asked. "It's back up," Leo said. "Look around you and look at this shelter. It was basically the size of a city. Don't you think they had people protecting it as strong as us? I don't want to stay on this planet for long, and I don't want to find out what destroyed this shelter." Leo walked up front and using his ability allowed him to see an aura around things. A beast's aura was always red, while humans, yellow. It also allowed him to see the aura through most objects, such as building walls and so on, allowing them to avoid any confrontation with beasts. As they continued to walk, Hayley had a question on her mind. "I've always wondered, which of you two are stronger?" Hayley asked. The two up front suddenly froze, and Dell looked at Hayley like she had no sense of personal questions. "Hey, you can't just ask something like that," Dell whispered. "It's okay," Faye said. "I can easily answer for you. It's Leo. I don't know if you two know this, but we had to practically beg him to join our ranks after the first war. Back then, he was only a private, but he had made so many accomplishments. It was unbelievable." Leo didn't say anything after that, in fact. He never spoke much in the first place. Finally, the group had arrived just outside the training center. "We'll make sure the portal is safe first, and then after we will go out looking for the kids," Faye said. "The entrance looks clear," said Leo. They walked onward and eventually saw the dead Rataclaws just outside of the entrance. "What happened here?" Hayley asked. "Do you think it was the kids?" "I think you mean kid," Dell added. "Only one of them has an ability, remember?" "Ah, Vorden is the original, correct. His ability is to copy that of others. Although we don't really know how it works, it could be possible. If he copied a strong ability, then I could see him being able to kill these rats," said Faye. "Well, if we find Vorden, we can go home, right?" Dell asked. "Are you suggesting we leave and not bother looking for the other one?" Leo asked. "The mission stated to only find Vorden. Anyone else is considered a bonus. Would you risk your lives for one student?" "When I joined that war, what do you think I was doing?" Leo asked. "I was risking my life for the sake of everyone." "Enough, you two," Faye snapped. "Technically, Dell is correct, but I see you are passionate about this. We will scout the nearby area using your ability. If we find nothing, then we leave. Fair?" Leo didn't say much and started to walk up to the door. He drew out his katana blade and readied himself. "Isn't that door made out of glathrium? It's one of the hardest materials we know of. It's why this training center remained unharmed in the first place," Dell said, chuckling at the idiotic attempt Leo was about to make. I'm assuming you wanted to know why Leo is stronger than I am? Faye asked. Leo slashed the door with one swing. No sound was made, and it seemed like the door wasn't even touched. Then, a few seconds later, a vertical slash was seen in the door, and the top half fell backwards onto the floor. That's why, said Faye. After entering through the glathrium door, they continued to walk in the hallway, which was covered in darkness. Dell couldn't get out of his head how easily Leo was able to break the door. It wasn't like Dell was a student. He was a professor, too. He had participated in the war back then as well, and never saw anything like what he saw today. However, it was clear to Dell that what Leo was using was at least a top-level beast-tier weapon. They had entered the reception area, where several doorways were leading to different sections of the training center. "Wait, stop," Hayley said to Leo and Faye up front. She bent down and studied the ground. "Can you see what this is? It's blood and leading that way," she said as she pointed to the living quarters. "How can you tell which direction it's coming from the stadium as well?" Dell asked. "Well, the blood tail, you can see that it's heading in the direction, and there's a lot of it, almost as if someone was dragged this way." "Come on, let's hurry. It could be one of the students," Faye said. They followed the trail until finally it led them to the hallway with a broken door outside and a ripped-apart chair. Faye peeked her head into the room with the broken door and immediately turned away. "Hayley, I think you better take a look at this," Faye said. Hayley took over and went inside the room, while Dell also took a look and turned his head away. "Did you see the body?" Dell said. "Its body was ripped in half, guts spilling everywhere." Leo, who was standing next to him, turned his head and looked him in the eye. "No, I didn't see anything. I haven't done so in a while now." Hayley continued to examine the body. She went around the man's neck. Underneath his beast armor, she pulled out a colored dog tag. "Again, 2 bite marks on the neck, just like the other students," Hayley thought. "Is there really a beast inside the academy somewhere, the same thing that killed this man? Or is it something else?" Hayley then stood up from the body and walked forward. "Do you want the good news or bad news?" she said. "Just tell us everything," Faye replied. "Well, the good news is it's not one of the students." Hayley then pulled out the tag, which was attached to a chain, and dangled it in front of the others. "The bad news is he was from one of the big 4 families." Each person's face dropped as soon as they heard the news. "Which one?" Faye asked. "The tag says True Dream." Faye immediately slammed her fist against the wall as she heard those words. Why them out of all the families? The big 4 families were the ones who had the power to rival the military. However, the True Dream family was the most unique out of the 4. They had the closest connection with the military, enough even to have a seat at the council table. This was all because of the head of the family, who had the ability to steal others' abilities. If anyone ever tried to rebel against the army, then they would get a visit from the True Dream leader, and they could never use their ability again. "We can leave him here for now, but it's best before we leave we bring his body and take it to the True Dream family. It's a pain, but they should be thankful we brought back one of their own," Faye said. After leaving the body be, they decided to follow the trail of blood back outside and into the stadium, and that's when they spotted the 2 kids lying down on the floor. "They're here! What luck!" Dell said as he ran forward. Hayley, Faye, and Dell immediately went forward, while Leo was the only one who stayed back. For in the center of the arena, he could see a color of aura he had never seen before, one which was purple. Before the rescue team had arrived, Vorden and Quinn were both sitting down in the center of the arena. "Hey, I just noticed something," Vorden said as he pointed at Quinn's wrist. Quinn lifted his hand and looked at it, and even he was surprised by what he was seeing. The number on his wristwatch was still saying he was a level 1. "I thought you said it would change when I activated my MC points." "Well, that's what's supposed to happen." Vorden then placed his hand on his chin as he thought about it for a while. "Do you think it's because you're a vampire? Just like how I can't copy your shadow ability, the watch might not be able to measure your type of MC in your body." Hearing this news, Quinn was actually a little upset. He was looking forward to being able to use his powers freely. As a level 6 user, people would no longer challenge him, just as he walked around the school. But now, if he showed he had shadow powers, and the number on his wristwatch still indicated 1, they would be just as suspicious about him. "I think it's best if you hide your shadow ability for now," said Vorden. "You've already hidden your vampire abilities for this song. You can hide your shadow abilities, right?" Vorden could see Quinn was a little downhearted by the news he had given him. "Don't look so down," said Vorden. "If we find someone in the school that's good at technology, we can get them to tinker with the watch. Plus, look at the bright side. The military tournament is coming up, and it would be good if you hide your ability until then. Show everyone on the big stage. Besides, if you come back with a level 6 now, they would be more shocked about how you learnt it so fast, so it works in our favor." Hearing those words did cheer Quinn up a bit. Just then, the sergeants and professors had entered the room, and surprisingly, the first person who ran up to both of them was their homeroom teacher, Dell. "I'm so glad you're both safe," he said with tears rolling down his face. Quinn and Vorden thought it was sweet and didn't realize the homeroom teacher cared about them so much. But the truth was, Dell didn't care about either of them at all. He was filled with tears of joy that they wouldn't have to stay in this scary place any longer. Hayley then came over to the two of them and did a general checkup to see if they were okay. "You look a little different from the last time I saw you," Hayley said. "You remember me?" Quinn asked. "Of course I do. I remember you taking that girl to my office at that time." Not many people even remembered what Quinn looked like after seeing him the first time, which is why the other teachers had no reaction when seeing him, so he was quite surprised. "Boys your age do grow quick. You're looking like a man already," she said, smiling. She didn't know why, but as she was touching Quinn all over, she could feel his bulging muscles. "Looks like the charm effect is working," the system said. "It's a shame you didn't save up all your stats and pull all your points into the thing. She would have confessed to you right here and now." Suddenly, she snapped out of it and took her hands away. After checking all their vitals were fine, she handed both of them a food pill. Although Quinn felt full, he decided to still take the pill regardless. However, as the pill went into Quinn's mouth and down his throat, he started coughing wildly. It was as if he was choking on the pill. "Is he choking?" Dell asked. Quinn continued to cough with his hands placed on his knees until he threw up all across the floor. Faye, who was standing by his side, had a worried look on her face. "Hayley, quick, check up on him. There's blood in his vomit."
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.